Welcome to the Blessed Teach Show. This is Rick, your host, here on Thursday, January 16th. And we have the Pelosi poison and her poison pins that she had, over 30 of them, I think. And she's sitting there with Shifton and Nadler, and they are talking about this isn't partisan, and thinking they're fooling the country and fooling themselves. It's not exactly working too well for them. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking also about other exciting items about Flynn continuing to fight, just the beautiful trade and promises kept by Trump, and a ton of news, as well as a Mark Taylor prophecy. By the way, he's going to be on live tomorrow at 5 o'clock Central Time. So 5 p.m. Central Time, Mark Taylor live. Be talking about the deep state church and more stuff that's being released. It's just amazing what we're learning, guys, about the deep state church. It's really kind of scary if you think about if they're lying so those who you trust the most, as Q would say, right? And one of those areas are actually people that are leading us in these large mega churches. So let's dig in. And the first is just to note that we still haven't gotten any Q posts since the December 29th. So he's letting future proof pass. And boy, we have so much news. I would hate to have Q posting right now because I wouldn't be able to cover it all. But let's see who else on. I just saw Lewis from New Zealand. Thank you for being on. Where else are you guys from? I see Cosensi was on first. Thanks, Gene. He's backstage. So join if you want to join Gene and Sharon and others backstage. Scoobs, thank you for being on as moderator. Really appreciate it. I see Virginia in the house. I see California in the house. Alaska in the house. South Dakota in the house. Love it. Oklahoma, Delaware, Texas. Just skipped on me. I already said the New Zealand. That is pretty cool. And Caffeine Addict's talking about something Japanese. I don't think he's from Japan, though. All right, Conroe, Texas. Okay, let's roll in to a 1 minute little promises kept by Trump. He retweeted this just a bit ago. Let's listen.
Justices of the United States Supreme Court who will uphold our laws and our Constitution.
Uh-oh. It started late. It started too late. Here we go.
My number one priority is to dismantle the disastrous deal with Iran.
Promise kept.
I would renegotiate trade agreements. The trade agreements are horrible. They're one-sided.
Renegotiating trade agreements. Promise kept.
Reforms to add millions of new jobs and trillions in new wealth.
New jobs, wealth, promises kept.
The military is totally depleted. I mean, we have to rebuild our military. We have to do a lot of things.
Rebuild military, promise kept.
Our horrible trade agreements with China and many others will be totally renegotiated. That includes renegotiating NAFTA.
China and NAFTA, promise kept.
The American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
Embassy moved to Jerusalem, promises kept.
Cancel the Paris Climate Agreement.
Paris climate canceled.
We're going to build a wall, and it's going to be a serious wall. And it's going to be
Build the wall, promise kept.
We are going to appoint justices of the United States Supreme Court who will uphold our laws and our Constitution.
Supreme Court justices that uphold the Constitution, promise kept. Isn't that awesome? You just gotta love. I mean, how can you beat this guy if he beat them without this record, without any experience, right? It's like if he beat him then, I mean, how are they going to beat him now? And so that's why they're going to have to try to use dishonest practices, such as what we're experiencing right before our eyes. Hey, before I get into all that with the impeachment hoax, I'm going to go to my Patriot brother here, right? If you go to actually patriotflashlight.com, patriotflashlight.com, I tell you what, this is the coolest device I've ever seen, literally, from a perspective of solar powered, and then you can charge it up with the new 2020 version with the different types of USBs. There's a small, the USB-C as well as the regular USB there, so you can charge up your devices with solar powered, which is just incredible, right? And then just to think about how bright that is, as well as the three different modes. You probably saw that 1, 2, 3. You also hold it down a little bit. It flips over here. You got strobe lights. You can actually do the police thing as well. And look at it can go up to 2 nautical miles, this thing. Got a compass, has a siren on here. It's really loud. I'm not going to play it. And then it's got a rope cutter / seatbelt cutter. Great to have one of these in each of your cars, as well as a glass breaker if you ever got submerged in water. Powerful magnet. Great to have out in camping, etc. as well. Again, you can get 3 of these for the price of 1 by doing 2 things. Number 1, just buy 3 versus 1. It brings down the discount extremely well. The $149 flashlight goes all the way down. And then you apply my discount. It's a 15% discount called Blessed 15. Brings 3 of these flashlights babies down to the price of 1. I think I told you the guy who bought this sound equipment bought 2 packets of these, and he loves this new version of it. Oops, there and if you think that was loud, just wait until you take the compass off, and it's really loud. So go grab your stuff. That's patriotflashlight.com. Let's move into this Pelosi pins. So many pins that Pelosi will sign to officially transmit the articles of impeachment and sign resolution appointing House managers. Why so many? They will be given away to members like House managers as a symbol of today. So literally, souvenirs. So I want to back up and let you guys know when the Clinton impeachment happened, they walked over the articles from the House to the Senate on a Saturday. There wasn't a camera there. Now you have the fake news media and the 4 a.m. fake talking points making a huge production out of this where it looked like a funeral. If you go see my 5x5 show yesterday on the 5x5 network, and you'll see it there. It's like just bizarre what's going on here at this point in time. And here is people going, bah, look at this. Here's a meme of her giving all these pins out. And here's a quote from Nancy saying, "Keep these pins. We are going to need them to fill out job applications." Like I said yesterday, it was like the death of the Democratic Party, right? Literally, they're signing their death warrants here. From a perspective, I don't think there's ever going to be a Democratic president again. I don't think there's going to be never a majority ever again, because they've got Trump derangement syndrome and are making absolute fools of themselves at this point in time. So it'll be real interesting as they continue to do the impeachment scam. What is it going to actually result in? I think it's all part of the plan. Here, if you look at this, Republican Jim Jordan says Ukrainian leaders have repeatedly rejected that there was any kind of pushing or pressure. But the mainstream press would rather run with ridiculous allegations from a man under indictment. So now here's another, basically CNN trying to push this narrative. They talked to this guy from Ukraine. It's really funny. He said, "I won't believe a word he said." So let's listen to this real quick. See if I have this. This one's not playing well. But the whole point is that this guy right here, the foreign minister of Ukraine, frankly, I have not spoken with this he's kind of the new Avenatti, right? It's Lev Parnas. And Rush Limbaugh predicted this back on, I think, November 11th, that this guy was going to be the next person to be the hoax, right? New information. Look, you don't need a whistleblower. Hide the whistleblower, because he was secondhand information. he had the wrong information, because that's why they released the transcript, to catch this guy, to show that the whistleblower had incorrect information and it was hearsay. And so, boy, they had to really struggle and go get Solomon, who was the only one fact witness. All the rest they paraded through there were also hearsay witnesses. And Solomon himself actually presumed something that Trump didn't say. Trump said there was no quid pro quo, but he presumed there was, which means he lied and made it up. So that's worse than hearsay. It's below hearsay when somebody presumes something, right? Because they didn't hear something. They didn't hear it from anybody. They didn't hear it secondhand. Nobody heard it. They just presumed it. They made it up in their mind. So presumed stuff is worse than hearsay, lower than hearsay. And here you have this new guy that basically they do the normal narrative or the normal tactic where they trap somebody, and then they say how you have less of a sentence if you basically lie about Trump. And that has been that's happened so many times with Kavanaugh and with the Russian narrative, etc. It's just the Mockingbird media panicking because they can't get any facts to even twist So they have to create new lies. And it's not working, guys. It's not working. Mockingbird Media is failing miserably. This might be a little low, too, if I remember this, but this is interesting. Greg Gutfeld's take on this impeachment. See what it sounds like.
If you're a viewer, okay, and you're watching,
yeah, it's a little too low, but I'll put this in the show notes. You'll be able to hear it on your own device. You can turn it way up. But the point is that he's just talking about he's just so funny of how he can paint things and really show what a sham this really is, because it is. That's all there is to it. So Greg Gutfeld speaks for us, talking about the sham in 4 different ways. And here's Anon saying, a warning to rhinos. We will be watching and taking names of the traitors who vote to remove our president from this sham impeachment. Now remember, they have to get 2/3 of the Senate, which they're not going to get. And so, but you already have the cabal-controlled Republicans. Some people call them rhinos. They're really cabal-controlled Republicans, and that includes Mitt Romney, Murkowski. There's 2 or 3 of them that are completely controlled by the cabal, and they are already the ones asking for witnesses, right? Whatever the actual deep state wants, they will parrot. That's how bad they are. Sound on that was good, Rick, says Cosensi. Okay, well, maybe I'll go back to that and play Gutfeld a little bit here. See if you guys, I'm going to turn it up a little bit louder on my end, the loudest I can do it. Here we go.
Okay, and you're watching this coverage, here's 4 things you got to remember. The media controls the narrative, okay? Look what happened to the 5, right? They put the money in the jukebox, we got to dance. Number 2, the Dems in the media have been working on this for 3 years. So this ain't a moral cause. This was a political vocation meant to unseat an election. Number 3, they don't hate Trump, they hate you. He's a proxy for you because you voted for him. They think you're a bunch of rubes because you didn't listen to the media. This is their revenge. And last but not least, you got to store all that anger. And when this is over and when they lose, because they will, you got to rub their noses in their loss till the day they retire.
Yeah, it's going to be bigger than that, but there's the 4 parts of this. And so obviously everybody knows that this is a sham impeachment, and Romney guaranteed. We know that Romney is completely controlled by the deep state. If you did an SB2 code, you see he literally threw the election on purpose. Because why? Well, he was so dirty that they caught him and they used all the dirt against him. That's what Obama did with the hammer. So the whole hammer that they had control of then was a spying operation against all of Obama's political appointments, all 8 years. That's what's going to be coming out. This is not just spying on a presidential campaign. This is spying on Supreme Court justices. This is on federal judges. This is spying on anybody that Obama wanted to control. So the weaponization of the federal government happened more than almost even in Russia in some cases, I believe, or I'm talking about the Soviet Union, obviously. Now here we are, and here's you have Chuck Grassley swearing in, unfortunately, somebody else that they've got dirt on. It's sure good that this has to be 2/3 of the Senate, but here's Roberts.
Of the President of the United States. I'm now. Senators, I attend the Senate in conformity with your notice for the purpose of joining with you for the trial of the President of the United States. I am now prepared to take the oath.
Will you place your left hand on the Bible?
Bible.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that in all things appertaining to the trial of the impeachment of Donald John Trump, President of the United States, now pending, you will do impartial justice according to the Constitution and the laws, so help you God?
I do.
Yeah, it'll be real interesting. I think it'll be a tough couple of days as the Democrats roll out more of their crap, right? And to amplify everything they did for a couple months. But boy, is it going to be fun when the defense comes out and just destroys these people, right? That is going to be really awesome to see. Now, that's enough of that impeachment because we know it's a complete hoax, because what's getting done? There's promises being kept. That's what's happening in the real world. And he's showing that the entire Congress isn't really needed that much. He can get things done without them. That is the funny part, is they are just only passing what is massive pressure comes onto them to do, such as the UMCA, right? And that is exactly happening now. There's also things going on with the Democrats just showing their cabal colors. And so again, this is rhinos / controlled Republicans. They controlled both the right and the left. Now Trump's cleaned a lot of the right up through massive people not rerunning. I could say not rerunning, such as Flake and Ryan, and all got rid of a ton of the cabal there on the right. Now the primary part of this is the left. I always talk about this isn't right versus left, but the Democrats of JFK are over. And a good example of this is right now. Look at these 2 dead officials. We had Benghazi. And what did the Democrats / cabal cry over? The terrorist Soleimani, who actually orchestrated Benghazi. But it's really, their colors are showing like never before. So as Mark Taylor's talked about a lot, he'll be on tomorrow, is the evil is just being exposed everywhere. Isn't that awesome? And here you go. Attorney Sidney Powell just caught DOJ prosecutor Van Grack committing subordination of perjury. So we went over this in quite detail yesterday on the 5x5 channel, but I tell you what, it is really interesting to see how this is all coming out, where she has an interview here that is intriguing, and it's worth a watch. It's a little long, but I think it's worth you seeing Sidney Powell in action. You would not want her to be against you. She is phenomenal, and listen to what she and Lou Dobbs talk about here.
He is in some kind of trouble, and I have to tell you, I cannot figure out what the U.S. Justice Department is doing. Flynn is seeking to change his guilty plea on charges of lying to federal investigators. In a new court filing, Flynn citing the government's, quote, bad faith and vindictive.
And then I can't play all this just because of copyright issues. I'm going to go over to Sydney where she first starts talking. Here she is, right here.
Evidence now that they were actually trying to force Mr. Flynn to lie to a jury and a judge in the Eastern District of Virginia last summer, and they knew that's what they were trying to do then. We have a redlined document showing that Mr. Van Grack himself transmitted to Covington.
The prosecutor.
Yeah, the prosecutor from Special Counsel's task force, who's still running this prosecution because
he has a history.
Yes, he has a history. He was with Mr. Weissman on the Special Counsel.
So here's this guy trying to prosecute Flynn, who was with Weissman, the snake, with the they call the bulldog from the Mueller case, right? And this guy actually changed a key document. And that was going to go along with the 302 being changed as well. So this is all coming out, guys. It's going to be a beautiful sight. Here's some more.
Correct?
Correct, but the government's already agreed to our motion for continuance. The judge has not.
And by the way, it was already extended, so the motion for continuance was already passed. So the 28th is not going to happen. It's been postponed at least a month. Here she is again.
Overthrow this president.
Oh, what I'm seeing and finding by the day is an absolute outrage.
Give us an example.
Brilliant colleagues just found before I came over here is that Mr. Van Grack actually changed the language in the statement of offense they created against General Flynn, and knew that. So when he said last summer that he wanted Flynn to testify to something, he knew because he did it himself that it wasn't true. And if that isn't subordination of perjury, I don't know what is.
Well, so this guy, Van Grack, who worked with Weissman, who's trying to nail, and because they were trying to trap him in different ways, I believe, to even make it worse for him. And they went from saying a light sentence to 6 months in jail. And basically because they wanted to perjure him again to actually get him more than 6 months in jail is what they were doing. So they got caught, and now they got caught changing critical documents. It's going to be they're really built themselves a problem.
Threats to suborn perjury.
So can you put the prosecutor in jail for it?
Well, if I were a prosecutor, I could.
Well,
the defense lawyer.
Where do we find a prosecutor? Where does?
And then she keeps on going,
which explains why the original 302 is missing.
302 was missing.
And a few other things.
So it sounds as though not only did the prosecutor commit fraud, and lie and attempt, as you say, to extort a guilty plea, it sounds like the FBI was an accomplice, if not...
And they still are, because they haven't produced the original 302.
That's right. So they've buried themselves here.
Because there's still more information I need to brief for him.
Well, surely this judge has courage and integrity enough to do the right thing. Couldn't it be that simple?
It could be that simple.
Sidney Powell, because it's not that simple, we wish you luck and give them hell.
Oh, we won't stop until we win.
I had a feeling that.
We won't stop until we win. I love it. So that's it. That's just, guys, where you see Sidney Powell and the Flynn thing. Not only did he was able to inject all his evidence into all these sealed indictments, now he's twisting it to these dishonest prosecutors. And Weissman, I believe, is eventually going to go down, as well as Van Grack and all these criminals that are still swimming in the DOJ, as well as the State Department and others. Judge delays Flynn sentencing after he seeks to withdraw the plea. So that shows what they were talking about actually happened, which is great news. For more information to come out about the sham, just like the sham impeachment, way back then was the sham getting Flynn to, and it's all about hiding their criminality. That's what they want to hide. And the only way they can hide their criminality is attacking anybody that would talk. That's what the Mueller investigation pretty much did the entire time. And like Pinchuk's a perfect example. Somebody who paid Trump for some small little speech, right? Hardly any money. I think it was like $100,000 or something. And he gave millions to the Clinton Foundation, but they attacked him on the Trump thing, trying to get him to shut up about the Clinton thing, right? But that is all being documented in the sealed indictments. And guys, justice is coming. We have to be patient, but justice is coming. Here's Greg Rabuni has a full thread on what the deep state, why the deep state framed General Flynn. And I could do a whole show on this by itself. What does General Flynn know that is so damning to the deep state? A thread. What does the sentence "Flynn knows where the bodies are buried" mean? And then you look at this and it goes through 2, 3, 4. He's really digs into some detail. Great thread. Go tackle that. Can't remember how many it went to here. We're at 12 already, 14 tweets digging into that. You'll find that in the show notes. Again, go to blessed2teach.com, blessed with the number 2 teach.com. Worth your time, but we have so much news to cover. We have to keep moving. Here's Sean Corticon, who's did a great thread I covered yesterday. And he's just saying, is this justice? Is this not vindictive? This alone should be enough to dismiss at General Flynn's case. James Comey brags about setting up the National Security Advisor, Mike Flynn. So here, this just shows you how deep the swamp was with the media. Here we go.
And two FBI agents ending up in the same room. How did that happen?
I sent them. Something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration, in the George W. Bush administration, for example, or the Obama administration. The protocol, 2 men that all of us have perhaps increased appreciation for over the last 2 years.
And because he has a liberal audience, he kept going.
There was process, and so if the FBI wanted to send agents into the White House itself to interview a senior official, you would work through the White House counsel, and there'd be discussions and approvals, and who would be there. And I thought, it's early enough, let's just send a couple guys over. And so we placed a call to Flynn, said, hey, we're sending a couple guys over. Hope you'll talk to them. He said, sure. Nobody else was there. They interviewed him in a conference room at the White House Situation Room, and he lied to them. And that's what he's now pled guilty to.
Yeah, he did not lie to him. And we know that. The reason he did pled guilty was just to save his son, save other things, but also part of the plan, I think, to inject the evidence. And it's the fact that he told them he didn't need an investigation. They didn't know they had entrapped him by having a copy of the transcript. And he was doing what you should be doing as an incoming national security advisor. But
what did he think they were coming over there for?
I don't think he knew. No, we didn't tell him. Just said, sending over a couple of agents. I want to ask you some questions. I didn't have this conversation, my deputy director did, but hope you got a few minutes you can sit down and talk to them.
Right, so he's being transparent when they were entrapping him from the beginning. That's what they've done this whole time, a bunch of dirty cops. Comey is a massive dirty cop is what he is. Here's an anon saying, do people realize how amazing it is that the USA is no longer dependent on Middle East oil, is now the largest producer of crude oil and just sold $50 billion in crude oil and natural gas to China. That's a B, not an M, that's a 50 billion. Guys, this is huge because it makes us not dependent on that whole Iran mess. Right? That's why the cabal took control of Iran a long time ago, to create strife within the Middle East, as well as control the oil, be able to control the companies, and also just a piggy bank for them when they did the OPEC. He used the OPEC for the cabal. And that's why Mark Taylor's prophecy about the black gold, being that God controls the black gold as well, right? And he just turned the tables on them. And here's a fragile truce. Here's what the Trump's big, beautiful monster of a trade deal. So this is in China. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but he just goes into another opinion on it. Based on what we know so far, this is the core of the agreement. The U.S. has agreed to have 15% tariffs on $120 billion in Chinese imports. So, but there's a lot of other imports, by the way, that we still kept completely on. This includes some $32 billion additional, which I will get to in a second. But just amazing the way the negotiator he is, and an indefinite delay on further tariff hikes. So he was threatening bigger tariffs, and they knew they were going to be coming down on him. In return, China has promised to make structural reforms to buy an additional $200 billion over 217 levels in goods and services over the next 2 years. The deal leaves in place the bulk of tariffs, there it is, imposed by Trump on $360 billion of Chinese imports. Nearly all the Chinese-made products flowing into the country. So guys, this is just phenomenal. I mean, because you have a false economy over there. That was cabal, Rothschild type printing of money that created that false economy there. And it's what brought them from when I was watching TV originally and look at China, they were all on bikes. They didn't even have cars. It was like a third world country, and they vaulted themselves into some of the largest cities in the world, building ghost towns over there, which we've talked about in the past. It was a completely false economy. The trade deal with Beijing is essentially an informal agreement, not a treaty or an official trade pact like the USMCA, which means Trump doesn't need Congress to approval to sign off. At 86 pages, it's pretty thin for a trade agreement. That's something else about the deal that's unique. Trump's team has negotiated a classified annex that details the $200 billion Chinese buying spree and includes some $32 billion in additional purchases of American farm exports and $50 billion in natural gas and crude oil. The administration insists the different nature of the deal is by design, and that it won't need the approval of Congress. This is not a free trade agreement. It's told supporters in a memo last month. Its purpose is to rectify unfair trade practices. How awesome is that? Keeps Nancy and her delay tactics out of it. She delayed USMCA by a full year. Trump signs a historic trade agreement with China. Here's a list of the top advantages of the U.S.-China trade deal. You can go look at it yourself. Now, here's the USMCA. And will create 176,000 new American jobs, including 76,000 jobs in the auto industry, and boost the U.S. economy by $68 billion. The USMCA trade deal would increase U.S. agricultural exports by $2.2 billion and increase access to the new markets in Canada and Mexico. U.S. manufacturing workers would receive the greatest percentage of gains in wages, new jobs, and exports. Again, guys, 2020 is the economy. Everything they can do to try to stop this now is almost impossible with these two new trade deals. Not to mention you got rid of the Paris Accord. You got rid of all the crappy ones, right? And now you've got these newer ones in that don't have climate taxes on them and are merit-based and are based upon real value that we can add. And the threat of tariffs. It worked incredibly well. As phase one continues to unfold, it looks like Trump might have a chance to level the playing field out. And so when phase 2 comes in, it's really going to put the economy on steroids. Here's Donald Trump talking about it, one of the greatest trade deals ever made. Also good for China and our long-term relationship. $250 billion will be coming back to our country. And we are now in a great position for phase 2 start. There's never been anything like this in U.S. history. USMCA is next. So the threats he said that if you don't do a deal now, is we're going to nail you in 2020. I think the Chinese are realizing, oh my goodness, this guy's going to win again. Otherwise, why would they have done a deal now? Trump was going to nail him with more tariffs. And so that was a part of it. But the other part was the threat that you're going to get a worse deal if you don't do something now. And so that is master negotiation is what that is. Here's McConnell talking about breaking. The Senate just passed the USMCA. Next stop, POTUS desk for his signature. So this is kind of interesting because it just wasn't long earlier today when he says USMCA next. And then boom, that same day, it's passed. I'm grateful for the president for prioritizing this deal and delivering on his major promise. It's a big win for Kentucky and for American families in all 50 states. Now, a lot of people were sending me stuff about saying how there was bad things in the small text of the USMCA. All these trade agreements are complex, and some people will get hurt versus helped, right? But the overall America is hugely helped. You cannot even argue with that. Like Kosensi says, it's like the art of the deal is exactly what's happening here. Hey guys, this was really wild. I can't remember who sent me this on my WhatsApp, but I have a WhatsApp group for those of you that are supporters that want to just be able to text me stuff and get my thoughts on things, and it's been real helpful to me. If you look at this, this is the symbology in Hollywood and predictive programming, 30 years. Coincidence? So this here is talking about how one of my favorite movies, Back to the Future, had 9/11 coded all over it. I couldn't believe it when I saw this video. So you got to go watch this. It's a 13-minute video, so I can't play it now. But I'm going to just show you some of it. Like, look at this. Here's Marty McFly, and he's looking out the window, and see there's a 9 there, a very clear 9. You can't miss that, right? And then later as the movie goes on, you're going to see how the entire movie kind of parallels exactly what happened to the Twin Towers. Kosensi says, I think Eric sent me this. So I look at this. So you look at this, Twin Pines Mall. So this is when Marty came and he knew the terrorists were going to kill his doc, right? Doc, a terrorist attack. And you see, look at this, Twin Peaks Mall. So there's 2 of them there. And look at it, 1:16 a.m. If you turn that upside down, that's 9/11. So that's one really key thing. Also showing that Twin Pikes Mall. Later in the movie, it's only 1. Just like right now, we have 2 Twin Towers that got knocked down, and now we have 1. That's kind of this more Illuminati building, right? Crazy when you look at this. So basically, those were talking about the Twin Towers. You even see the Twin Towers here. Here's another big point. 119, obviously, with gematria, you can move them around. Both of those are 119. This is right from the movie about when they were coordinating exactly that time. And then here you see them watching a movie from the past again, and you see 2 huge hedges. And then all of a sudden they morph into what? They morph right after 119 again into the World Trade Center with some guy upside down here. And I guess if you look at it upside down, it shows those things following. Just wild. You got to go watch this. And then this is the biggest one right here. See that 9 we saw right here? When you see the tires, the DeLorean basically go traveling through time right before a movie, right? They actually show the 911. That's multiple times in the movie you'll see that. And there's other eerie things about the same director with a later movie 30 years later when Marty goes, you'll know in 30 years. So this is a must watch. Go back to the show notes. Again, blessed2teach.com, blessed with the number 2 teach.com. I'll probably have those up tomorrow morning, and that you'll be able to get to all of these here. October 2015. That's the date when he was supposed to arrive after the 30 years. Obviously, all this was done before 9/11 in this movie. Now, back to some QAnon conspiracy theories. This is QAnon conspiracy theorists find kinship on the Tampa Riverwalk. So here you got people in Tampa Bay, completely controlled by the 4 a.m. talking points, because they'll talk about it being a unverified conspiracy theory. And so it's really interesting, and you'll see that many times. And another complete hit piece, like the thousands of others the media have done. But this talks about, I know a bunch of our people got together in Tampa Bay, and sure enough, there's a hit piece done by the Tampa Bay Times, the liberal media, and they're Mockingbird criminal control puppets. So it's just sad when here's this Claire McNeil just completely controlled by puppets. Sad that we have to put up with this. But look at this. We saw an article that told the truth about QAnon and in American Thinkers, I think, a couple days ago. Now we see it in Zero Hedge. This is amazing, guys, that we're getting that the actual true articles about Q are starting to come out. This was on the 15th by Zero Hedge, and you'll see this authored by Deborah Franklin via AmericanThinker.com. So basically, they're just taking that true article that came from American Thinker and now putting it in Zero Hedge. So it just shows you that the truth is starting to come out. We are the news now. Not only are the people that understand the fake news coming to our sites anyway, right? Now because you guys are sharing, because you guys are red pilling people, now even Zero Hedge feels comfortable saying this stuff. That is a big step, because Zero Hedge wasn't doing this before. I know they were reading it, many of the people, etc., but this is amazing. Hey, the second sponsor of this show is the Q coin. And this thing is amazing if you think about, just like we talked about, it becoming a narrative now in some of these more major newspapers, right? And now we're having conferences with Q. This is going to be history. I just remember one of the cool graphics they showed on the Q board, right, where you had a teacher showing QAnon and the kids were watching. This is history from hundreds of years from now. We're going to be talking about this. So having these Q coins could be a kind of an amazing thing when you show, look what I bought back before their arrests. And this thing's really cool. It says, where we go, one we go all, the Great Awakening. And you can see it has a little lightning bolt on there. It's got a huge Q in the middle of it. I have two of these coins right now. You buy 2 of them, you actually get a carrying case as well. And a beautiful coin. And the back of it had some hieroglyphics on here with some hidden messages around the 17. It's kind of really an awesome. But that little lightning bolt, you put it on this card, and you actually have a augmented reality where different videos pop up. This comes in a sealed, literally with wax envelope that says "We the People." So they've done such a great job packaging this. Done a great job enhancing the AR than what it used to be. And now my discount is huge. The Blessed to Teach is like a 30% discount. It's like $5 off of a $17 coin. So I thought it was cool. They priced it at $17 for all this per coin. But now you get a full $5 off if you use Blessed to Teach. You got a Blessed space with a number 2 space teach. You'll see that code down in the bottom here. And in my show notes too, if you're signed up for my show notes. Again, Blessed space number 2 space teach is the coupon code to get that $5 off. All right, again, that's greatawakeningcoin.com, greatawakeningcoin.com. So look at this. Harvard should no longer be considered an institute of higher learning or an esteemed university. It has turned into a cesspool of anti-Americans who don't buy into our values or our Constitution. It's exactly what we're getting out of Harvard right now, according to this Anon. And then what is he referring to? Here's a Daily Mail article. It says Harvard releases radical proposal to fix America's democracy that divides Washington, D.C. into 127 new states, adding enough votes in Congress to rewrite the Constitution and eliminate the Electoral College. Remember, we are not a democracy. The founders knew a democracy would fail because of the majority mob that would rule. Just like we have the mob of the media right now, right? We have the mob of the Democrats trying to impeach Trump. We have a constitutional republic. That's why the Electoral College is in there, so that the minority can actually have a voice. That's why you'll see, even though the House of Representatives is representative of the population, the Senate's not, where somebody from my little hometown of Idaho, we get 2 senators just like California gets 2 senators. And then the Electoral College, you add to that balances the power. It's a constitutional republic, not a democracy. A pure democracy doesn't work. They fail quickly because once somebody gets to 51%, they basically kill the 49%. And so it's real important to stop using those words. We need to spread democracy. No, we need a constitutional republic in these places. That's exactly. Demo equals mob. Crazy equals rule. Now, just FBI, ICE, and Department of Education IG investigating Ilhan Omar for possible student loan fraud and immigration fraud. Isn't that interesting? So that's a full article here by the Gateway Pundit, who I trust. So they do some good work. And so I think you'll see a lot of scandals being coming out on some of these. These basically were cabal puppets. They're clowns. They're clowns in Congress, is what Q's even talked to us about. How many of the ex-clowns came in, and then the whole squad was a hit job to try to bring socialism to the country. But I think it's being used as part of the plan to wake people up. So the people that aren't sold on socialism are going, what in the heck? And they're seeing Bernie Sanders ahead in Iowa, and they're seeing Cortez, AOC supporting Sanders, and they're going, oh my goodness, they're serious about this. And then hopefully we'll be able to wake up our kids that have been brainwashed by all the professors. That's that 7 mountains of cultural influence I talk about that we have to go take back. And as Mark talks about, taking back ground, right, and keeping it. Here is an article in the Daily Mail. You watch me abuse Prince Andrew. Accuser Virginia Roberts takes aim at Naomi Campbell, the supermodel, and Ghislaine Maxwell as she tweets, "You saw me at your parties. You saw me in Epstein's homes." So this whole Epstein thing, I think, is a great way to help plant a seed in your blue-pilled friends, because eventually all the truth's going to come out here, and we know that the people that were there that were being controlled by their crimes are going to be come out, and it's a lot of people on the right and left, right? But I think it's a perfect way to start there. Now here's another something that was forwarded to me. Is the thread of all threads, the must be shared and understood, coded. So True Reporting did this big, long article that I think was done by, the guy that was incarnated E.T., right? And I think he got a strike for this. At least somebody told me he got a strike for this. So be careful what you do this video, because, as you know, YouTube's looking for any excuse now that they have the ability to just kill any channel they want based on the new user agreement that started on December 10th. I'm still shocked I haven't gotten a strike yet and it's January 16th. God willing, but that's why we have the other platform, right? That's why we have Backstage. I'm live on Zoom on Backstage right now. Backstage people, hey, and we can continue to do exactly what we're doing right now without YouTube. In fact, my new searchy platform is much better than YouTube, where you can search some of the exact words and phrases of what Mark Taylor or Gene or me or anybody on my show ever says, back all the way to the beginning. It doesn't just search the title of the video. It literally searches every word said on a Blessed Teach show from the beginning in February of 2018 all the way to the present. That blows away what YouTube can do on the search engine. So again, this is going to be positive stuff, because we will get around YouTube when people start leaving YouTube, because right now their search engine is manipulated just like Google. It's a worthless search engine. All it brings up is mainstream videos primarily, right? I used to come up when you would type in QAnon Today on the front page every time, literally, because I was very smart about using tags, etc. Now they don't look at my tags anymore. They push me down from the front page to I'm not even in the top 50 pages. And so that is what they're doing to manipulate us and trying to keep us off. So bottom line is go to BitChute, BITCHUTE. That's where the free videos will be. And then obviously the Zoom platform, which I had to pay for with all the searchy and all the exclusive content, all that type of stuff is going to be on the Zoom. It's only like $6 or $7 a month, guys, right? So it's still 30% off if you go to the Backstage on blessedteach.com. still get 30% off. Just don't get the 30 days for free, but you get the 30% off still of both the monthly and the yearly. And the yearly is 30% off of the yearly, so that can bring it down even further. So I go to vote.co, guys, a lot. Vote.co is what you'll where I find a lot of this stuff, as well as Twitter, where I just follow some awesome people. Here is an article on sarahcarter.com saying Republican lawmakers send letter demanding Fisk judge explain selection of David Criss. So here's David Criss, who supported the FBI, the corrupt, the dirty cops, in what they did to get the Fisk. Was put in charge of cleaning up and changing things in the Fisk, based upon the IG report. That's Fox guarding the hen house, a corrupt person that's already had in writing showing that he supported the dirty cops. so no wonder they're asking, what are you guys doing? The whole court is going to be abolished if they're that stupid and they're going to continue down this stupid path. Talk about these people are stupid. You get caught with your pants down, and you're not going to clean up your act. It's like, are you kidding me? Well, here's a meme that has this guy saying, "Got you! Don't shoot! I'm a Nazi too!" And the guy says, "Prove it." He says there are two genders, and he goes, "Oh, whew. That's good. That's good." So we're all Nazis if we just believe there's two genders. That's how extreme the left has become. There are a bunch of Trump deranged syndrome, literal socialist supporters that have been brainwashed by the New World Order over the last 20 years. And boy, is it a miracle that we got Donald Trump elected despite this. That's why it had to be an overwhelming victory. That's why it had to fill stadiums. That's why if the wasn't for voter fraud and all the cheating in various ways that they can do, I believe that was a landslide. But hopefully we've cleaned up a lot of that. Here's judge refuses to use preferred pronouns of transgender child pornographer. So finally, we have judges that are starting to get sane in this country instead of trying to change everything up, right? So that's, I think, just going in the right direction is what we're doing here. Here's a little video showing this Bernie Sanders future to believe, a future to believe. And look at it, it's being towed by a Trump truck. A Bernie Sanders bus being towed by a Trump truck. You've got to love that. I'm not sure if that's doctored up or what, but it's funny. Funny video either way. Now here is finally the feds include ICE appear to be investigating Ilhan Omar. We talked about that earlier. It's another article. Anyone else noticing Putin's plan that was released today? He's basically banning dual citizenship. And we have a lot of people with dual citizenship, especially from Israel. That's probably a big part of our problem. Winning 58% of people attending Milwaukee rally. This is the Trump rally in Milwaukee. Were not Republicans. 58%. That just shows you the enthusiasm for Trump is still there. So look at this guy. It's this Trump curse. The Alex Cora, the Red Sox manager who refused to visit the White House with his team, just got fired for cheating. The time is up for those who are corrupt, as Mark Taylor would say. The time is up for those who are corrupt. It's pretty wild. So a lot of other news that I'm just going to kind of skip through here because I want to get to the prophecy by Mark Taylor, because we're going to be having him on live tomorrow. I want to make sure I spend enough time on that one. Again, if you want to see everything I've showed you and even the stuff I missed, you're going to go to blessed2teach.com. Blessed with a number 2 teach.com. And you can see this is the home page. You just scroll down. That's how you can get on the email list where I'll send you the notes after they're done. Here's about. This will show you when I go live. The show notes are right here. I have a blog. I'm launching new courses to train if you like online courses, and I actually complement those with me live as well to go over exactly the teachings live with you. The backstage is where you would actually get the exclusive content, that Searchy platform, the Zoom platform. be with me 5 minutes and before and after. By the way, I'm backstage right now, so Gene and I will be backstage for 5 minutes or so after the show. Speaking, I'm actually going to be going on the road, guys. It's fun. If you have an audience that wants to really understand my views on how to red pill people, how to share the Lord, how to go from a frustrated spectator to an actual impactor. I love talking to people. As you know, as a Toastmasters in my undergraduate and graduate programs, I just love speaking in public and talking. So if you have some ideas on some podcast or physical stages that I would be that type of message would be wanted, I have an actual site now that actually fires up to talk about my speaking engagements and what topics I talk about. That's all at blessedtoteach.com with the 2. Blessed number 2, teach.com. Okay? Now I wanted to, that has not been refreshed yet, but I'll show you that here in a second. Let's go to the prophecy. There it goes. So I'm going to go back to that just real quick. But this is the site that actually has a video talking about what I talk about. You can connect with me right here. There's a PDF that talks about going from frustrated to empowered, right? With a signature talk being from frustrated spectator to a powerful impactor, as I just said. And then also, again, I go on stages anywhere speaking from 15 minutes to an hour is usually the typical time that we talk about it. I've been on a lot of stages. Thanks to you guys on Facebook. You guys have given me a 5-star rating with 200 plus reviews. And again, you know I'm on YouTube, BitChute, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, etc. All right, that's enough on that. Let's get to this prophecy by Mark Taylor. This is Operation Let My People Go. The Spirit of God says, when Donald Trump is elected, a sign will be given. The earth shall quake because of who I have selected. It's a shift in the power structure that is taking place. And another sign will be given when it falls without grace. A lightning strike and a great wind shall topple the so-called great monument, and they will not be able to mend. It'll be a sign that the Luciferian reign and ungodly powers are coming to an end. I've had it with time and truth that bends. When it topples and shatters, the capstone of the builder's scepter will be exposed for all to see, and the one they rejected, who is me. For these ungodly powers, I, the Lord God, will expose, from the Illuminati to the cabal, and they are beginning to decompose. For those that speak of myths of wrath to come are creating fanaticism, and they will go down in the abyss with a cataclysm. Isn't that interesting? In that one paragraph there, wow, some amazing things. Number one, there was an earthquake right after Trump got elected at Christchurch, New Zealand, which is amazing. And it talks about here that a lightning strike and great wind shall topple the so-called great monument. And what I thought was most interesting, he says, when it topples and shatters, the capstone the builders accepted will be exposed for all to see, and the one they rejected, who is me. It'll show you that obelisk that they have there, as well as in London, as well as at the Vatican, and obviously in Washington, D.C., that big Washington monument, there's a cornerstone down there that's all Freemasonry. So we believe that sometime soon, there's going to be lightning and some type of thing that knocks that monument right down. They just repaired it from damage. And is that going to be amazing if that happens? It's also, remember how they talk about Operation or Project Looking Glass? Actually being able to see and project percentages in the future. And also any type of looking at time, you almost have to bend the time to kind of go through a portal type thing to kind of see the time and or travel in time. And look what Mark says here. I have had it with time and truth that bends. Time that bends? Wow. So Mark was telling me on the phone the other day, he wrote this, but he didn't realize that it might be referring to stuff he didn't even know about. That's the first paragraph of Operation Let My People Go. Some other meaty stuff in there, but literally naming the Illuminati and the cabal And actually, another prophecy we saw them talking about the New World Order very clearly. So Mark was all on top of this. And he knows it's all being exposed and it's becoming very obvious to everybody. Second paragraph says, the Spirit of God says, the timeline, the counterfeit timeline that they have used, you shall see it and how it's been abused. For the counterfeit timeline that they have used to lead my people astray will be exposed and seen because my remnant people have prayed. You people who speak with time and truth that bend, thinking you have encircled my body and sealed them in, hoping it's now their end. For you are saying they are no longer a threat, for they accepted a truth that bends. Woe to you, for you forgot about my remnant, and that's my surprise. And now it's your end, and it shall be your demise. For the counterfeit spiritual compass that is pulling and magnetizing my people off course, as it be, will be turned back by my true army, and pointed true north and back at me. Another powerful paragraph. If you just look at this, it goes back to this counterfeit timeline of them thinking that they're going to have the return of the Antichrist, and they're going to basically the 16-year plan to destroy America. All was counterfeit timeline. Also talks about the time that bends again here, right? Talks about the fact that the truth and time that bends is going to encircle us, where they may have been using the looking glass to try to encircle us as our enemy, but they forgot about what? The remnant. And guys, that's us. I really believe that this is talking about not only Christian, you got all these people, and you got Christian patriots that are red-pilled. So that's the remnant, I believe. It's us. We're the ones that have to fight the spiritual battle. Your prayers mean more than you know. It even says, whoa, that you forgot about my remnant, and that's my surprise. Wow. And it's going to be their demise because why? You guys were praying. And you're continuing to pray. And you're part of this army of God that's talking about. What a beautiful truth. Here we are in the spirit of, let's go to the last paragraph. It says, the Spirit of God says, woe to those that have tried to enslave my people. For now I will topple your so-called steeple. I think that's the Washington Monument going down again probably. It has stood for so long, the beast of old called Babylon. For this new world order that seeks to destroy forgot about my true army that's being deployed. My army rise up with a shout, for this evil reign is being exposed with clout. My army, rise up and take on this beast, and I, the Lord God, will take him down to the least. For this beast is roaring, trying to intimidate through assassinations, division, and hate. Rise up! It's time to battle against this beast with extreme prejudice, and you will terminate. Now, obviously, that's talking about spiritually terminating this beast. But also in the real world, we're going to be seeing the Illuminati, the New World Order, this beast topple, the cabal. He uses the word cabal. He uses the word New World Order. He uses the word the Illuminati. All in this prophecy called Operation Let My People Go. Remember, this is written in July of 2016, before the election. Almost 4 years ago. Look how this stuff's coming true. It's just amazing to me to see this. Again, so if you want to be part of this true army that's being deployed, we're already active. We're the remnant. We're God's army. Don't take that lightly. Because remember, we're having to join arms with a lot of people of other faiths against the Satanists. But they can't fight that spiritual battle because they don't have a direct relationship to the true God through Jesus. Remember, he's the only way. It's a narrow path. So don't take that lightly. You love Jesus, you love the Lord, you're red-pilled, you're a special breed. Philippians 4, 6, and 7 gives us a promise that we don't have to be anxious about anything. And we have a promise, from my favorite promise in all the Bible, that no matter what, we can present our request to God, and he will give us a peace that transcends all understanding, all understanding. Let's read it right here, Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. So you want your hearts guarded in Christ Jesus? You want a peace that transcends all understanding in any circumstance? Well, you don't have to be anxious about anything. You just present your request with thanksgiving in every situation. What a beautiful promise. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, just thank you so for Philippians 4, 6, and 7. My favorite two scriptures in all the Bible. Of all my 68 scriptures in BibleMemory.com that I have, this is my favorite. We don't have to be anxious about anything. Thank you, Lord. And we're not anxious about this beast. We're just presenting our request with thanksgiving to you that you take it down. The Illuminati, the cabal, expose it all, Lord. Replace it, rip it up and replace it with righteousness. We want to serve you and be part of this. Let us know how we join you. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, guys. Join me backstage if you're backstage. And I tell you what, this is an exciting time to be alive. We're seeing the Pelosi poison in her pens. Just not going to work. All that it's doing is exposing them as the cabal, exposing them as the Illuminati, exposing them as the New World Order puppets. Awesome time. Love you guys. Talk to you next time.